and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that ready. Come on, man. Wait. I still got the wall.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition on Split Decision. With me today is the one and only Devin Haney. Pleasure having you on Split Decision, as always.
Absolutely. Thank you for always having me, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Ramadan Kareem. There's so much to talk about. So we're going to start it off proper with Devin Haney versus Linares announcement for May 29th. How is preparation for that fight?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, brother. I mean, Devin he's looking marvelous, man. He hasn't looked, this good. And in forever. I mean, he's probably looking better than he's ever looked. He's healthy, both mentally, spiritually, physically, and it's just a great place that we're in right now. Him as a fighter and us as a family as well. So, I don't have anything but good things to say about how he's doing right now.
Yeah, we saw a clip of him in sparring, and yeah, he's on beast mode. Hopefully, he didn't scare the rest of the division with that clip. But with that being said, is there going to be an audience for this fight? Because obviously his last fight was in the bubble. So is there going to be an audience for this fight for the fans that want to attend the event?
It's going to be a limited audience per Governor Sisolak, the governor of Nevada, who's not allowing, of course, full capacity in Vegas. But for us to get as many of our fans and friends and family members in Vegas, it means everything. This is Devin's first time fighting, of course, as a world champion in Vegas. But, it's his first time fighting since the Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley undercard fight that he was on. So we're just anxious for May 29th to come around and just looking forward to him putting on a great performance. But as far as the sparring goes, I don't think that he can scare anybody in the lightweight division no more than what he's already scared them, for sure.
That's for sure. Now, Teofimo Lopez said that I won't be surprised if Jorge Linares beats Devin Haney. What's your thoughts on him believing that Linares will beat Devin?
Well, I think that's a hope and a prayer that Teofimo Lopez has and his father has, that Devin is beaten by Jorge Linares, but it's not going to happen. The best thing that they should do, is hope for a big fight, a mega fight between Devin and Teo at the end of this. That's what I would think. I would think it would be about encouraging for the big fight than actually, praying or speaking to it into existence, any falsehood like that. Devin is going to punish Linares. We are happy that Linares raised his hand. When everyone is talking about Linares being an old fighter, Linares is 35 years old. You have Richard Comey that's 34, and you have Lomachenko that's 33. So when you talk about these veteran fighters, and also you talk about Robert Garcia, who said yesterday on the Boxing Voice that fighters traditionally don't get into their prime until 30. They don't become the mega fighters that they are until age 30. So this falsehood that everyone is spreading around about these guys being old, Devin just makes him look like that, and it's no matter what age it is. You know, you just have to just stay with us, you know, believe in us, and know that Devin is saying everything to fight him, but they're saying everything but fighting him, you know. And I think that the people, I always say that the people, you know, we do it for the people, and they'll catch on. If the ones that haven't caught on, okay, are slowly but surely, you know, starting to question these guys, and why are these guys saying everything but fight Devin?
Now, Jorge Linares have been very vocal on sparring Devin. He said that he put his hands on Devin. What's your take on his comments that he already got the best of him in sparring and he will fight night?
No, never. He didn't. He didn't. You know, Devin did what he normally does to everyone. You know what I mean? It was nothing. Was no exception to Jorge Linares. You know, so he'll get a chance to prove all that come May 29th.
Now, obviously, Linares is a veteran in the game, like you pointed out. He was, I think, the only fighter that dropped Lomachenko, and he also beat Luke Campbell and dropped Luke Campbell. So, with that being said, looking at Linares, what's the game plan against Linares? Because for the first time, it seemed like Devin Haney, I won't say is the underdog, but a lot of people are picking Linares to beat him.
Well, only place that they're going to pick Linares to beat him is in Las Vegas, where the odds might stand a chance for them to hit the lottery or something like that. You know what I mean? But I don't think anyone is picking Linares straight up. You know, but if they are, then, you know, that's great for us, because what we wanted to do was to get into a fight that everyone, you know, felt that, of course, that they were going into it. It was going to be a tough fight going into it, that we were going to have doubters, and this is the kind of fight that we were looking for. You know, so shout out to Team Linares, and you know, thank you to them for raising their hand and stepping up.
Yes, sir. Now, Ryan Garcia has officially announced fighting Fortuna next in another title eliminator. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, Ryan Garcia, you know what I mean? He has become just as wishy-washy as Teofimo Lopez. I was giving him the credit for actually telling the truth, you know what I mean? And then now he's come back because he fought for the title eliminator against Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell, you know, he's ranting and raving and strutting this stuff, strutting around like a peacock, you know, about beating Luke Campbell, who has never been a world champion, who's lost every time that he's been in a quote unquote big fight, you know. And then we talk about Ryan Garcia, and he talked about the resumes. So let me see. Let me just pull up Ryan's resume, because I mean he's talking. Hold on. Let me see. You know, I like to always have receipts when I come on, so, you know, the people will get a chance to. So, okay. So when we talk about Ryan Garcia, we talk about a guy that has never faced an undefeated fighter, ever. And his whole history of fighting, right? If the guy ain't already lost, Ryan don't want no parts of him. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
The guy ain't already lost, Ryan don't want no parts of him. But when Ryan was actually deciding to tell and speak the truth, this is what Ryan was saying.
I got Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney, I mean, you see with Nakatani, Lopez had a little bit of trouble with that right hand over the top. I think Devin's even a little bit more craftier, obviously more craftier than Nakatani. I think Devin beats Teofimo. I think Teofimo has a great fight with Tank, but I still feel Tank beats him. I feel Devin beats Tank, and I beat Tank. I beat everybody. Toughest challenge would be, I think, against Devin Haney.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, we just have a couple quick sound bites from him on just, you know what I mean, when he's telling the truth. And then when Devin tells him, you know, let's fight, right? Then you hear all these other things. You don't hear nothing from these fighters until it's time for them to fight Dev, you know? So they're pawning and putting him off on everybody else. They want him to fight everybody else but them. And when you talk about the resume and you talk about actually being, well, let's go back here. You talk about the world rankings. There's the world rankings right there. So.
And he's ranked number
6, I believe, isn't he not?
6. Yes, sir.
Number 6. So when you talk about Devin, you know, he didn't get to Teofimo Lopez. I mean, he didn't fight Teofimo Lopez. He didn't get Gervonta Davis, Lomachenko, and then there's Devin. So when he's talking about all this resume and making the best fights happen, right? So, I mean, you know, these fighters, they talk about who you fight them, right? You know what I mean? You fight the highest ranked fighter, right? And pick Devin. Stop asking about, well, who did he fight and, you know, and what his resume consisted of, because when you talk about a Teofimo Lopez who fought Lomachenko, everyone that he fight is top ranked fighters. He didn't fight anyone else. He fought all top ranked fighters. It was either a top ranked fighter or a top ranked sympathizer. You know what I mean? Meaning the promoter that works with top rank, that sympathizes with top rank's movement, and they tend to want to give their fighters the top rank, right? So initially we knew that with Eddie, we thought that Eddie would be able to, of course, because the relationship with Bob and bringing the Anthony Corollas to the table, the Mark Hookers, Maurice Hookers to the table, you know, bringing those guys to the table for top rank, that we would be able to make a fight happen. But you know, I think it was more so on the fighters than it was actually on Bob Arum, because they hid behind Bob. They didn't go and demand the fight with Devin like they should have, right? They didn't demand it like they're calling, screaming from the top of the roof. We were at the fight, at a title eliminator fight for Devin, and he started with the crowd saying Tank, right? Started Clout chasing Tank. Tank, who you want? Tank, 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 right? And then he came over to us and he said that if he didn't get Tank, it would be Devin. He told that to Chris Maddox. He said it on numerous occasions, you know. I think when it comes time to draw credibility of wanting to fight, they use Devin's name. But then when it actually comes time to making the fight, right, they use his name by saying who has he fought, or saying that he's not a credible fighter, right? So you draw headlines with that, but you say everything else but let's fight. They draw no headlines with saying that they want to fight him. Now, they always say something else. It's always next. It's always, you know what I mean? And then next becomes next, and next after next. They never say the word now, you know. And to answer everyone's question about fighting, Devin has always been available to make the big fights happen, right? You know, and yeah,
with everybody.
With everyone.
Yeah, with it. Yeah, it ain't just Ryan. Now, since this is another title eliminator for Devin Haney title, do you think the winner will be willing to fight Devin Haney this time around?
Well, you fight a title eliminator. Ryan fights a title eliminator, him and his dad. His dad, right? They say they fighting a title eliminator, and then they say that the title doesn't mean anything, right? But you fought Luke Campbell, but Luke Campbell never had a title. So how does that fight mean anything? Luke Campbell wasn't ranked higher than us, right? So when you talk about that, you talk about the paper champion. Well, we talk about paper champion. They got to mean the champion that's getting all the paper, meaning the money, the cash, because we was getting more money than any of them guys before. You know what I'm saying? Prior to the step up, this Triller coming on board and giving Teofimo Lopez the payday that he's getting, right? He just got brought into the multi-millionaire club, right? He just got brought into there, you know, and the things that he had to do to get in there, which was quote unquote bad business from his promoter, right? We didn't have to do none of that shit. You know what I mean? We was already there, right? Because one thing about the guys in the fight business, they know who the good fighter is. They know who the best fighter is. And no matter what, you got to keep the doors open. You got to keep the lights on. You know what I mean? So you do what you can do with what you got, right? They have those kind of fighters that talk a lot, right? But they don't produce. Everyone says, well, he's Lomachenko and Teofimo stepped up to Lomachenko. Listen, that was an in-house fight. That was a fight that Lomachenko had a year off where he could have still made the Devin Haney fight, and he chose not to. Teofimo did not step up. Teofimo had an opportunity with Top Rank to fight a smaller guy, right, in Lomachenko. That both teams felt that Lomachenko had some disadvantages in the fight. Take nothing away from him and all that he's done, but we knew that he had disadvantages when it came to our boys. When it came to Devin being a big lightweight, Teofimo being a big lightweight, and of course Ryan Garcia, who never was in that part of the equation anyway. But those are big lightweights, right? So that's going into it. That's what we always said. We always said that with Teofimo Lopez, with me and Teofimo Sr., that Lomachenko had some disadvantages that our boys had advantages of, and that we could take advantage of, taking nothing away from Loma.
Right. What's your take on Devin Haney? He came out and said that, let's not forget, Ryan is fighting another title eliminator when he could have easily been fighting for the title. He also said that Ryan said, I thought Ryan said he won a big fight with Pacquiao or Tank. #cap.
Right.
Then Ryan responded to Devin Haney by stating, the truth is I don't respect his career, haven't fought anyone, played political to get the title, and I don't think he deserved it. So I'm going to keep fighting good fighters like Fortuna, Gervonta, Teofimo, and when he steps up and wins against golden fighters, I will beat him too. Now, I mean, he said, I'm going to continue fighting guys like Gervonta, but he ain't fighting Gervonta. Like Devin pointed out, he said he was going to fight Gervonta or Pacquiao next, and he's not fighting either one. However, he's fighting another title eliminator. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, like anything, like I said, is that we still don't have any problem. We still have no problem. You see, along our journey, is undefeated guys. 12-0, 13-0, 25-0. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who we get in there. When we talk about Yuriorkis Gamboa, you see him?
Yes, sir.
Only three losses on there is to Terrence Bud Crawford, Gervonta Davis, and Devin Haney. And Devin made him look like no one else has ever made him look. You see? So
yeah. So
and we talk about Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares, you can just pull it up. Jorge Linares has been calling for Ryan Garcia forever. And that was an in-house fight that they could have made, right? And Jorge is a 3-division or 3-time world champion, right? Take nothing away from him, but he stepped up. He stepped up just like Gamboa stepped up, you know what I mean? And we got to give him his props and his full grams for that, right? It's just that, you know what I mean? It's getting closer to fight date, you know what I mean? And we're locking in, and we look forward to punishing him.
And not to mention, Linares beat Luke Campbell, who Ryan keep bragging about defeating. So I do want to ask you. Absolutely. Yes, sir. And I do want to ask you, who did Luke Campbell beat? Not fought. Who did Luke Campbell beat? Can you name anybody off top of the dome, or you could use, box rec?
Let me see, because I want to.
Yeah, name me one name fighter that everybody knows that Luke actually beat. I really want to know, because Ryan keep bragging about his resume, so I'm trying to figure out who have he fought.
Luke Campbell down there at number 21, right? That's him?
Yes, sir.
Down there at 21, right there? Okay, let's see. He sure didn't fight nobody that. Hold on.
Well, when he fought somebody, he obviously didn't win. So,
Well, listen. No, let's take a look so the people will see, right? So when you talk about that, right, you talk about Ryan Garcia, the first fighter that he's fought that was undefeated. But when Ryan fought him, he had a bunch of losses, right? So you take a look at him. He's never fought nobody that's undefeated. They never took a chance with him.
Right.
I'm saying this, all of them is what's the name? So when it came time to stepping up against somebody real that hadn't lost, he never stepped up to that. Luke Campbell. So how do you say such a great fighter that he was? Or we should say, how many great opportunities did he have and he lost, right? So he fought a good fighter that had a lot of opportunities that lost all of them.
Yeah, and according to Ryan, Luke is notoriously known for losing. This is what Ryan said.
Well, that's what Teofimo Sr. said as well, though, right? They said it as well, so you can look that up. Teofimo Sr. said it. Teofimo Jr. said it. Ryan said it, right? And then you come back and try to get all these props and stuff for that. But when it comes down to it, right? Devin is the highest ranked fighter that was available, and he will be the highest ranked fighter as soon as we take care of this business with Jorge Linares. Period.
Right. And didn't Luke just to check? Luke, he turned down Devin Haney fight on more than one occasion.
Multiple times.
Exactly. Thank you. Now, when Ryan says Devin played it political, is challenging Lomachenko for the title playing it safe and political? Because the only one that seemed like he's playing it political is Ryan, since he doesn't want to challenge Devin Haney for the title like Devin Haney challenged Lomachenko. So isn't that hypocritical on Ryan's behalf?
I mean, very much. Very much. I mean, it's almost like it's blasphemy that they're speaking. You know what I mean? Because when you talk about politics, he's the one that's being coddled and being babied by Oscar De La Hoya. He's the one that's clout chasing and talking about the tanks and talking about tanks that are not on the same network as him, talking about Pacquiao's and all these other things. So, I mean, is he looking to politically move because he has a strong presence on Instagram? Because he has, so many followers on Instagram that he's going to use the politics to get a fight that he's not warranted of, right? So why would a person want what does he bring to the table to a Pacquiao? Or what does he bring to the table to Tank Davis? Unless he's playing politics and using his social media presence.
Now, if Ryan is not planning on fighting Devin next, according to his own post, he said, I'm going to continue to fight. And he named everybody but Devin Haney, who he's being in a title eliminator for Devin title, right? What is he doing in another title eliminator if he's not fighting Devin Haney for his belt? Well, if he says, I'm going to fight Tank and T.O. and all these other fighters, and he didn't mention Devin. So why is he in another title eliminator if he's not planning on fighting Devin Haney next?
He's disrespecting boxing. That's what he's doing. He's disrespecting boxing. He's disrespecting the championship, what it means to be a champion, how you become a champion, right? And if you take a look at this, pull this up for me. Let me see. Okay. This is Lennox Lewis. Just read it, brother. This is Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to see for me, but
Can you?
hold on.
In his first 3 years, let me see. In his first 3 years as a professional, Lennox was several regional heavyweight champions, including the European, British, Commonwealth titles. After winning his first 21 fights, he defeated Donovan Ruddock in 1992 to take over the #1 position in the WBC rankings. He was declared WBC heavyweight champion that year after Riddick Bowe gave up the title to avoid defending it against Lewis. He defended the title 3 times before an upset knockout to Oliver McCall in 1994. Lewis avenged the loss in a 1997 rematch to win back the vacant WBC title. So the key is this in here is because Lennox Lewis held several titles, the European, the British Commonwealth titles. He held all those. Just like Devin held the WBC youth title, the international title, the silver title, right? And the interim title, right? After winning his first 21 fights, he was declared, he defeated Donovan Ruddock in 1992 to take over the #1 position in the WBC rankings, just like Devin became the #1. He was declared WBC heavyweight champion later that year after Riddick Bowe gave up the title to avoid defending it against Lewis. He defended the title 3 times, just like Devin is on his 3rd title defense. Right now against Jorge Linares. He defended against Alfredo Santiago and also defended it against Gamboa, right? So before an upset knockout loss to Oliver McCall in 1994. Lewis avenged the loss in a 1997 rematch to win back the vacant title. So that'll show you, and that was the very first time. That's the very first time that a heavyweight champion, a British heavyweight, had became world champion in the 20th century, was by the same merits, right?
Yes, sir. And Lennox Lewis won the title the same way Devin Haney did, because Riddick Bowe refused to fight the mandatory Lennox Lewis, just like Lomachenko refused to fight his mandatory Devin Haney.
Lomachenko vacated the WBC title, right? The same way he did, and petitioned to have a franchise designation, and that's what it did. And later, right, the WBC could say whatever that they want to say, right? Which we know that that's all. It's not true, because you see it right there. You see it in black and white, right? You know that Devin was the #1. He was the #1 contender, right? He fought Zaur Abdullaev for the interim, right? Which made him #1. He had held every title. Zaur Abdullaev had the silver title. We beat him for the silver title, right? He had the international title. We had the WBC youth belt. We've had every belt that in the WBC that they can have, right? The only belt that we're not going to get and we're not going to petition for is the WBC franchise belt.
Yes, sir. Now, since Ryan is in another title eliminator, do you think he's waiting Devin Haney out to move up to 140 so he can capture the belt that way to become a champion, just to wait Devin out till he move up to 140? Is that, you think that's his plan?
Well, I mean, by all indications, it seems that he's waiting for something, right? And you know what I mean? He doesn't see Devin as an opponent that he wants to challenge, right? He says everything but let's fight. They always put opponents. You see what he did then. He says that, you know, he'll continue to fight guys that he hasn't even fought yet. He said he'll continue to fight Fortuna, Tank Davis, and Teofimo Lopez, and you haven't even fought them. So what do you mean? Nor have the fights been negotiated, mandated, or anything. So, you know, he's going into this fight, and he's going into this fight already saying to the people that he's not going to fight Devin, right? So what does that tell you? right? And if you don't have nowhere where Devin is saying that he won't fight these guys, right? You don't see him making up excuses, right? We don't say that the guy ain't worthy, right? We know that this is boxing, right? And you fight the fighters that's available for you to fight, right? The highest ranked fighter that you can get and negotiate to get in the ring. They don't negotiate for Devin. They don't want Devin, right? And it's something that Devin brings to the table that, you know what I mean, we're going to continue to, and like Devin always says, as time goes on, it's only going to get worse because he's only going to get stronger and he's only going to get better. You know, you guys on May 29th, it will be the best Devin Haney. You'll see the best one. You haven't seen the best one yet.
That's right. And Andre Ward came out and said that Ryan should not get a pass for calling out Tank, and then he, you know, the way he did, and then pulling out to fight someone else, and not fighting either, you know, not even Devin Haney. So, what do you think the best way to hold a fighter like Ryan responsible for trolling Mike Tyson, the fans, and everybody in general?
Well, I think that what we need to do is respect Ryan as what he is and who he is as a YouTube fighter, right? He's a YouTube fighter that has a strong social media presence. If we're going to respect the other guys, we have to put Ryan with the Jake Pauls and the Logan Paul and put him in that group, right? And put him in that group and know that what he'll do is he'll hopefully, you know, God willing, he'll bring young kids, you know, to the fight game like the Pauls are doing, right? But when you talk about really getting it in, right, and being mentioned amongst the greats of the game, right, later on, you know, he's not seeking that. He's not going for that because you never put down an opponent that you feel like that you can dominate, right? You know. So you know if he felt that he could dominate there, then he wouldn't down him, right? The reason why that we always put these guys up is because we feel that, you know, we're gonna go in there and dominate them, right? We don't just dance around the question to say that they're not ready or they're not worthy or none of that BS, you know. So you know, give Queen Lion Garcia official YouTube belt because he doesn't want a belt in boxing. He doesn't want the WBC belt. He doesn't want that. He don't care about that belt. So make up a YouTube belt and give him that. And see if he like that. Or an Instagram belt. Give him an Instagram belt. Give him an Instagram belt. So that's what, yeah, okay, cool. So we're gonna make him undisputed. We're gonna give him the Instagram belt, the YouTube belt, the Twitter belt, and the TikTok belt. We're gonna give him all 4 belts to make him the undisputed. Yeah, undisputed. Yeah.
The undisputed social media champion.
That's absolutely, King. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, by his response, he don't see. It sounds like he don't see himself beating Devin. And he admitted. I mean, he said Devin is his toughest fight. That's why he's saving him last. I think it was better off him telling the truth than, you know, coming out trying to downplay Devin, who's ranked higher than him, who's the champion. When Ryan is just fighting for another title eliminator for Devin Haney belt. You know,
well, we out of East Oakland, California, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we didn't grow up like that. I mean, you can tell that, you know, the soft shit that he's saying, the soft shit that his daddy is saying, you know what I mean? You know, that's just them. And I think Oscar sees that in them. I know that Eddie Reynoso sees that in them, right? You got Canelo, who comes out of that Guadalajara, Mexico, you know what I mean? Rough and tough, you know what I mean, with the business, right? Then you talk about Ryan Garcia, you know, and his dad. They great guys, but they're not just with it. They're not just with this, you know what I mean, stand up to the challenge shit. They're ducking, they're avoiding, they're saying all the things that you shouldn't say if you're trying to really make a fight, right? If you're gonna really make a fight with some big money involved, right? You're saying all the wrong shit, right? So I think that they did a great job with him. They just did not raise, you know, Mr. Garcia. He didn't raise a fighter. He raised you know, a YouTube guy, a YouTube personality, actor, or you know what I mean? I don't know. You know, maybe he's a musician or something. Maybe he starts singing or something. I don't know.
So if
He's
nickname
doing everything but fighting.
Ryan nickname is King, so what do you think?
No, Ryan's
What do you
nickname
see
is
as-
Queen. Ryan's nickname is Queen Lion Garcia.
I have a super chat for you, Bill. My man said, just letting my guy Bill know we fucking with him in the chill hashtag.
The shot. That's that Windy City, man. That's their shot. And,
Oh,
and
okay,
it's up.
okay.
And
Bill,
it's up. Thank you, good brother.
yes, sir. Bill, real recognized real every single time. Now, wouldn't you agree? Hold on. Is Ryan and Tio what's wrong with boxing today? By them refusing to fight the best, are they the reason why YouTubers are making a killing, such as like Logan Paul, Jake Paul? You see them getting a lot of money fighting UFC fighters or even other YouTubers. Is that what's wrong with boxing today? That the fact that guys like Ryan will troll Mike and the fans instead of fighting the best?
No, nothing is wrong with boxing. Boxing is doing just fine. We've never complained about money that we were getting. We've never complained about anything, right? And if you're dedicated to this sport, then you know the stages and the levels of development, and you know that your time is coming. You don't have to do the extra antics and all this other stuff. You don't have to, down the other fighters, right? To build yourself up, right? If you really with the business, then you want to fight the other guy, and you let the people say how great the guy is and how good the guy is, right? And then you fight him, right? Teofimo Lopez, you know what I mean, and his dad, they're a bunch of contradictions. They contradict themselves on numerous occasions, right? In terms of what they want to do and who they want to fight. The latest one is that Ryan wants to fight Tio, or Tio is going to want to fight Ryan, right? But you'll see how many people call Devin's name after we get through smashing Linares.
Yeah, but Ryan don't have a belt, so why will Tio be looking to fight him if Ryan doesn't bring anything to the table? But do you think?
Well, Kambosos didn't bring nothing to the table, and he chose Kambosos, right?
Right.
And Kambosos talks about the resume that he had, and he's never fought nobody, right? And he arguably lost his last fight, right? So while he was talking the bullshit that he was talking, and instead of concentrating on Teofimo Lopez, right, he's still mentioning Devin, right? And he had a split decision, that back-to-back split decisions, right? Matter of fact, so
right. But we're gonna get to that in a few. Now, last thing on Ryan. Do you think the Luke Campbell knockdown set him back to reality? Since Luke was not a puncher, it kind of woke up Ryan back to reality a little bit. Or do you think he was always from the jump he was trolling Tank, Ryan, Tank, Devin, and Pacquiao?
He definitely got sat on his ass, and you know what I mean. My heart dropped for the whole Garcia family and the team. It wasn't something that I wanted to see, right? I wanted to see him win and look impressive, and make the fight happen. That's what we went to Dallas, Texas to do, was to potentially promote the next fight, which would have been Devin and Ryan. But after he got up off his ass and then stopped Luke Campbell, he started yelling, "Tank, tank, tank, tank," all right, in the audience. And then he had his fans saying "tank, tank, tank," and then they didn't even make the fight. So
yes, sir. Well, Bob Arum said that he would like to make Devin versus Teofimo fight next on pay-per-view after Composis. So Bob Arum is on board. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I've talked to Bob on numerous occasions in social media and let him know that, you know, we wanted to make that fight happen. You know, he went on to say that that's a fight that he's willing to do, right? He just has to get the kid on board. That's what I'm hearing. He has to get the kid on board. So, you know, hopefully that you know, T.O. get past George Kambosos, right? And then, you know, we'll make the fight happen.
Now, obviously,
We're definitely looking for it, and we'll definitely be ready.
yes, sir. Now, just to let you know, Josh Taylor versus Ramirez winner is obligated to fight his mandatory next as part of the agreement, which leaves Teofimo with only Devin and Ryan as options. Since Teo, he showed his interest of fighting the winner of that fight. However, he can't get it no time soon. So, since that's the case, how optimistic this time around are you that the fight is going to happen? Since he won't be able to get his hands on the winner at 140. And
Well,
Bob is not saying, you know, he
I know
should
that
fight that.
George Kambosos is the WBO. He's the WBO mandatory and the IBF mandatory. George Kambosos is. So he wouldn't have after George Kambosos and IBF, he wouldn't have a mandatory in the WBO. In the WBA, it was Tank, wasn't it?
No, I was talking about at 140, Josh Taylor and
Oh, I know.
Ramirez, the winner.
I'm answering to the fact that where he would go next and what he would what he would have next. Because of the Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. According to Bob Arum, those fights weren't available. But what's ironically strange to me is you can talk about a Richard Comey, right? And then you talk about building up to a Richard Comey is going into a Lomachenko. You were already talking about Lomachenko when he was fighting Nakatani, right? You can talk about Fortuna, and then you could talk about after Fortuna, you want Tank Davis, right? But no one can say after Kambosos, they got Devin Haney, or no one fighter is going to say after Fortuna, right? You got Devin Haney, right? So, Tank Davis. If you talk about after Barrios, right? There's Devin Haney. So we know why these fighters aren't looking to fight him. And we know it's just a matter of, the people continuing to tune in, continuing to watch, and their favorite fighter running out of excuses, right? And we respect all the fans. We respect all the fans, the diehards that roll for Teofimo. We respect the ones that roll for Tank. We respect the ones that roll for Ryan. You know what I mean? That's what respect is. We want to earn the respect and the admiration of the fans by fighting the fighters that they like and that they value so much. It's not that it's anything personal. It's just a fight game. And to, obviously, in any sport, to win over the fans and win the respect of the fans, you go into the hometown or you go to those championship games, playoff games, you know what I mean? And you turn up. So that's what we look to do. We don't look to make any fans, any of the diehard fans seem like that they're liars or seem like they don't know or that like they're casuals or not. We want them to watch Devin, watch the actions of their favorite fighters, watch Devin's actions, and then make an intelligent assessment from there.
Yes, sir. And my man said, "Tell Mr. Bob talk is cheap. Set it up." Now, Teofimo Lopez said that there is a lot of dispute when it comes to his undisputed claim. So he wants Devin next, so apparently this is the topic of conversation now. Now Teo is trying to claim that he's going to fight Devin. So with that being said, Senior also came out and mentioned, he said, and I quote, he knows Devin is going to price himself out. End of the quote. What's your take all of that?
I mean, the only price that we ever heard was from Teofimo Sr. and Jr., who said $10 million to fight Devin. We've never heard Devin or Bill Haney say anything about money, right? We've always been straight, right? We know that with in this sport that we handle our business and, the money is going to come, right? So we've been satisfied with the money that we agreed to get, right? And we just never complained about money, man, never. We never talked about money. That's something that we didn't never choose to do, right? But when they talk about pricing themselves out, right, they've never sat down to negotiate with us about anything. So for him to say he knows that we're going to price ourselves out, I think it's him himself that is looking to price himself out.
Yeah, and now you agreed with Tio Senior on a 4 million, right? Prior to that 10 million.
Yeah, that was 4 million. That was 4 million his way.
Yeah, and then I think the week after when he saw Eddie,
Then he saw Eddie. He put 6 million on top of it. That was a hell of a week, right? He went from he went from 4 to 10. 1 week is 4. The next week is 10. Right.
Right. So isn't that pricing yourself out?
Definitely ain't pricing yourself in.
My man said, Kenny, he said both Tio and Ryan stated that they are the only ones who can beat Devin. But when it comes time to fight, they say, what has he done? And go fight a lesser duck.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's thank you, Kenny, for that. Is that Teofimo says that he's the only one that can beat him as well, too. So, and that's a great point that he pointed out. Both of them say that. But when it comes down to fighting Devin, then it's something else different. And when they see this performance, just watch.
Yes, sir. Now, George Composis, he came out, he had something to say about Devin. He said that he would have deleted the WBC email if he were Devin. And as you showed earlier, obviously Devin won the belt the same way Lennox Lewis did. So what's your take
Mr. George Kamnosis? Look here. Now, when we talk about him, let's look at his resume. I mean, just the other day he was fighting a guy that was 24-10. Well, let me put some little light on this screen. Or is it too light? Too much dark?
Yeah. All you got to do is just click on it, to focus. Oh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, just the other day he was fighting a guy that was 24-10. He's never fought nobody that's undefeated. All right.
Right.
He's never fought nobody, man. That's what's his name. Come on, man. What is he talking about? The guy a couple months ago was 24-10. The one before that, and these are split decisions. See them SDs right there? Them are split decisions. Which meant that it was chances that the challenger won the fight. His fighter, his company was the one that put on the fights, and he had the split decision.
Yes, sir. Now, Composis also said he don't want step aside money. If Teofimo don't fight me, he will get stripped because I'm the mandatory. So if that's the case, he would have won the belt the same way Devin Haney did with Lomachenko if Tio refused to fight him. So isn't that hypocritical, the fact that, he calling out Devin for, how he won the title when Lomachenko was the one that refused to fight?
He doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? He just George Kamnosis don't make any sense, man, at all. Right? His whole thing is to use Devin's name to hype their fight. Right? You've never heard him ever say that he wanted to fight Devin. Not one time. And now he comes up and says something about questioning what Devin has done. Right?
Yeah.
Period. So, and if he wins, then he can get it too. You know what I'm saying? But he need to concentrate on Teofimo Lopez. That's what he needs to concentrate on, right? Because the opponents that he didn't fought, he just had split decisions with other guys. So, You know what I mean? And then the time before that, he fought a guy that was 24-10. So I think he needs to concentrate on what the business at hand. I don't even think that he's qualified to even say none of that. So
do you think it's gonna be another split decision with Tio, or how you see that fight playing out?
I think Tio gonna knock him out.
Okay.
That's what
Now, I mean, obviously, Composers, he's not fighting Teofimo for Undisputed.
Well,
we know
his own promoter, Bob M said that this is not an elite fight. He's not an elite fighter. It's not an elite fight, right? You hear Bob M saying that it's not a fight like Devin Haney. It's not a fight like Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, right? Those were the fights that Bob wanted to put him in, right? He didn't have Kambosos ranked. He didn't rank him like that, right? Kambosos came back and ranked himself, right? You know, so I mean, he decided to put himself in a mix amongst the big boys, right? When he needs to concentrate on that fight because he's the one that got picked. We didn't.
Well, Bob also said the fight is 25-1. You know, he's a 25-1 underdog. Do you agree with that statement?
I mean, according to what he's done and who he's fought, right? It doesn't show that he's ready, right? But 25-1 is a lot.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I don't think Composers is petitioning for a franchise belt. So since that's the case, we know he's not fighting for Undisputed since Tio is not undisputed. And Lomachenko also said that Devin WBC title is the real title. So why do they keep bringing up how Devin won the belt when he won it the same way Lennox Lewis did? And if Lomachenko said that's the real belt.
And exactly. Well, that's what the haters are going to do. They're going to hate, right? You know what I mean? And just create these false narratives, right? But even when you have a fighter like Lomachenko, who's been in the business forever, right? Who's been on the pound for pound list, right? When the team is working for you and not you working for your team, right? You know, you're privy to all the decisions that are being made. Lomachenko knew very well, when he vacated the WBC, right? Just by what he said that the real belt is the one that Devin has, right? But when you talk about them trying to work in-house moves, right? They're working in-house moves with Top Rank. When it came out after Lomachenko lost, he told the truth. He told the truth who had the belt and all the stuff, because going into it, he was thinking that he was going to win, right? And then Teofimo Lopez, right? He doesn't want to fight Devin, so he's diminishing it. He's down in the fact that who has the real belt, and he's parading around with 3 belts and a franchise belt, right? A franchise belt that has Top Rank's name on it, right? Because he did not lose. If you take a look at it, they slid him the belt. They want some sneaky, underhanded shit during the Top Rank fight, because you don't win 2 belts from the same organization on the same night, right? So, you can't get a super championship belt and a franchise belt on the same night, right? He can be considered, right? They consider him. They can't say that he's not that what he is, right? We consider him. I mean, you can consider him whatever that you want, but one thing that he's not the WBC world champion, right? And that's what.
And that's what BoxRec says. I mean, ESPN on website have Devin Haney as the WBC champion. BoxRec has Devin Haney as the WBC champion. So if all these, boxing outlets, the history books have Devin Haney as the WBC champion, and they have Teofimo as unified. So he they could say and false promote and false advertise Tio as undisputed, but there's clearly a dispute. So how can you be undisputed when there's a dispute? There was no dispute when Crawford was undisputed. There was no dispute when Usyk was undisputed. So at the end of the day, facts will always remain the same.
This is on the WBC. See WBC.com right there. WBC.com.
Yes, sir.
So how can you be how can you be a super champion, right? He's talking about super champion, right? They even got your damn picture up there like that. What are you talking about? What are you saying? That's what it right there.
Yes, sir. Yeah. People lie, women lie, your eyes don't lie, and you all see it with your own eyes. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things that when you have the franchise championship. Well, see, nothing comes up. Nothing comes up.
Yeah, well, most likely that's because he's just a mandatory.
No,
for
right.
Devin Haney.
Nothing comes up. Nothing comes up, man. Nothing comes up, dog. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, I have another super chat. My man said, "We all know Devin, the king. Great job, Bill, for giving us the gift. More power to you, brother."
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong.
Yes, sir. Now, what's your take on old media? They always put stipulations when it comes to T.O. versus Devin. At first, it was too early. You guys need to fight for all the belts. Now for all Marvels, for Undisputed, for all the belts. Now you see old media, they interview Devin. They interview T.O. and they tell T.O., does Devin have to knock out Linares to get the fight? But he sure didn't have to knock out Composes to get the fight. So what's your thoughts on old media always putting stipulations to making the fights happen that the fans want to see when that's their job? Instead, they put stipulations so we don't see the fights as fans.
Well, the one thing that I do love and I appreciate platforms like yours, where traditionally, the fighters like the Mike McCallums of the world, right, who I vowed to him that I would never let what happened to him getting freezed out from fighting Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, or Roberto Duran, right? I vowed to him that I would never let that happen with Devin without the people knowing, right? So when you have platforms like yours and Dante's and the LDBC and platforms that don't mind getting on there speaking the truth, even though it goes against what old media is kicking, what old media is representing, even when it goes against sometimes fighters, fight promoters not giving press credentials to the fights, right? You guys still go on and report. You go on and report the truth, right? And so I take an opportunity to come on and tell Devin's story, right? And then the people get a chance to make the decision from there. They get a chance to really hear us and feel us and see where we're coming from, right? But back in the day, and of course Bob is a older gentleman, right? He's so used to the companies controlling all the narratives and controlling everything that the people see because the old media, right? The traditional, I mean real old media. I mean like LA Times, New York Times, New York Post. These subscriptions tended to favor the bigger promoters, right? So you weren't able to get a chance to hear the voices from guys that weren't fitting the agenda of the big promoters. Devin is a co-promoter, right? So with Matchroom Boxing, and Matchroom Boxing is on the other side of the pond, right? So that leaves us to fend for ourselves here, right? But as much as that, people felt that Devin's message and Devin was going to go by the wayside by becoming a fighter on the zone, right? We knew that it would give us an opportunity to show really how strong we were, really show that our resiliency and show our mental fortitude in terms of just keeping on and as a company. And I think a lot of fighters thought that they would do a deal with the top ranks and the golden boys of the world and be able to hide behind old media and be safe, right? But now it's a new world, and it's a new world that a new way of looking at boxing, right? And boxing lives here on the internet. So now, you know what I mean? No one is safe, right? You hear fighters kicking their messages, you hear managers, you hear promoters, you know what I mean? And I like it. I like the fact that the people are now getting a chance to see boxing and see it behind the scenes. I was one of the few ones that came on and showed the negotiations of of fights and stuff like that. I caught a lot of flack for it, but at the same time, I think that there was a general consensus of individuals that respected me for it.
Yeah, we appreciate that because, like I said, if someone avoids, we need to know. We need to know. The public need to know that none of these fighters want any smoke with Devin, and then they turn around and ask, "Who have you fought?" When they all turn a fight down with him or doesn't want to fight him. So, yeah, we appreciate what you do, Bill, every single time. Now, I do want to ask you because I have to clarify this. On how many different occasions did Fortuna turn down a fight with Devin Haney on the come up?
3 different occasions.
Okay. Well,
we were going in the ShoBox. We were going from ShoBox to Showtime Extreme or Showtime Special Edition. We were in a position that we wanted to deliver a big fight like that, a fight like Fortuna and Devin on Showtime Special Edition. Samson, he didn't want it, right? Then it was another time that we were in the WBC tournament and where Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Zaur Abdullaev, and we're in a 4-man tournament, and we were fighting for the position to fight for the vacant title against Luke Campbell. So what happened is that Teofimo Lopez, he got out of the tournament, told the WBC that he would not be in the tournament and that he would go to the IBF, right? He went publicly and says that Devin is crazy. Why would he fight more fights when he can fight less fights, right? So they figured a way that he could go over there to the IBF and fight another fighter that's within his company, Richard Comey, right? We didn't go the IBF way to fight Richard Comey because we wanted to get the belt with Luke Campbell and fight Lomachenko, right? Who had to unify because Lomachenko went publicly and said that he would fight Devin if Devin had a belt. Right when we won the tournament after Javier Fortuna got out the tournament too. We called the WBC and told him he was getting out the tournament. We called the WBC and told him that we were in the tournament. Zaur Abdullaev told him that he was in the tournament as well. So it became a 2-man tournament for the position. And then Top Rank petitions to the WBC to let Lomachenko come in and fight for a vacant belt because he's a decorated champion, and let him fight for the vacant belt with Luke Campbell. So once he fought for the vacant belt with Luke Campbell, that meant that he had 6 months to defend. Anyone that fights for a vacant belt has 6 months, and anyone that fights against a champion has 1 year. So he fought Luke Campbell and he got the belt. We beat Zaur Abdullaev and became the number one man in the WBC, right? And well, we fought Zaur Abdullaev because the tournament was banished and we could not fight for the WBC belt, right? That Lomachenko had petitioned to fight for. So what we did was we fought for the interim. We told him we'll make it the interim title, and that if Lomachenko doesn't fight us, then we become the world champion because there was no one else to fight. So that's when he vacated the belt and we became world champion, just like Linares and Lewis did. So what they did, because they have a machine and they used old media the best way they could to draw a narrative as if Devin didn't fight somebody and he fought an email. Well, when you came to the email, the franchise designation, according to Mauricio Suleiman, it was something that both Teofimo and Lomachenko petitioned for. They asked to be franchise champion. You can look that up. So it was nothing that you could win, right? They don't have the franchise belt. You can't win it, right? You have to petition for it, right?
Through what?
Through email or Gmail or whichever one that they tend to want to say. I don't know. Shit. The same shit that they try to use, the same they try to fool the people with, is the same shit they did. They know the process. That's why they did it. And then they said it on us. We never said none of that shit. Only thing we said was that we wanted to fight. And we wanted to be in a position to fight, whether it be the interim position, whether it be to have the belt to fight you, whether we had whatever that we needed to be, whether it be in a tournament to fight you, right? We never said what they were moving and how they were moving. So now even Queen Garcia, he even starts with the bullshit. He starts saying about the email, and he doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about, right? Because he was just fought an eliminator, right? And then he petitioned through the email, through the politics, right? He's the eliminator. He fought eliminator. So he's supposed to fight that. So he's saying politically, right? He doesn't like the way he's moving, but you go backwards to fight Javier Fortuna politically. You use politics to go backwards to fight Javier Fortuna, right? Instead of fighting Devin. So why was we brought in to Dallas, right? With the belt? Why were we inside the ring with you, right? With the belt, right? With the zone and everything that the zone, they sit you in the seats, right? They have you come in the ring because they have intentions on making the fight, right? But one thing about these fighters is that they did different than Devin. Devin did good business. He did good business as a co-promoter. We knew what we were signing going into it, right? We've adhered to everything that we signed. We've been given everything that we signed, right? We did not go in then and say, well, we don't want to work with our promoter. You've never heard us say that we having problems with our promoter or problems with the network, right? You'll hear Teofimo Lopez having problems with his network, right? Because he's not willing to fight. So he was able to go to a new network in Triller, right? And convince them about a fight that's not of the magnitude of a Devin Haney and a Teofimo Lopez, right? He wasn't able to convince his company or ESPN that, right? But he was able to convince that. So you have also Ryan Garcia, who doesn't want to fight on DAZN, right? Against Devin, right? He wants to feel like that it's bigger, it's better if they don't fight on DAZN and they go out and do a pay-per-view. They go do anything else other than do what the fuck you're supposed to do, what you signed up to do. You signed up to bring more people to DAZN. That's what you signed up to do, right? That's what you signed up to do, is to bring more people to ESPN. That's what you signed up to do, right? When Devin did the deal with DAZN, right? There was no Canelo on DAZN. There was no Mikey Garcia on DAZN. There was no Ryan Garcia on DAZN, right? We knew, and we made that shit slick. We know that people follow us and they follow our movement. And they saw, okay, he's over there on DAZN and they're keeping it lit. You know, so you seen the other guys follow. But we know we're leaders in this shit. We're not followers.
Yeah. And just to make it clear, Bill, the difference, well, they all did the same, right? Lomachenko, Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, even Devin Haney, they all petitioned through email. The only difference, Devin petitioned to fight. Meanwhile, Teo, Ryan, and Lomachenko, they petitioned not to fight through email. So who is really, like you said, the email champion?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Now, Kenny said, if Teo is the real champion, wouldn't that mean every non-franchise WBC title holder from Beterbiev to Spence to Valdez are not the actual champions? Question mark.
How could Teo How could T.O. be the real champ? And he's not. How could he be the real champ? How could he be the real champ? And he's the franchise champion.
Right.
Huh?
Well, we know what time it is. There's only one real WBC champion, which is Devin Haney, which is according to all the websites, BoxRec, and to the history books.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Now, I have another super chat for you. I appreciate it. A man said, appreciate the super chat. Salute, Bill. When is Devin Haney coming back to split decision? We haven't heard from him in a while. Oh yeah, I want to know that too.
Right.
We're gonna have him. We're gonna try to have Devin Haney for the Linares fight.
Okay. So there you go. Champions and ratings. This is the WBC, right? See that? I mean, that's that. We want to be recognized with those guys. You understand what I'm saying? That's what we want to be recognized with the other champions. That franchise shit. Come on, man. That ain't the same thing. That ain't the same thing.
Hey, do that one more time, Bill. Can you show that list again? Because yeah, that's crazy right there. Yeah. This is all the WBC champions.
Oh, let me go to the top. Let me go to the top.
Man, people lie, women lie. However, your eyes don't lie, and you guys saw.
And then you see even Francisco Estrada, right? Who has both of them, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't Francisco Estrada don't he got both of them?
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Yeah, that's interesting right there. And so last question on Fortuna. After Fortuna turned down a fight with Devin Haney, Samson, which is for Fortuna promoter, he had followed a complaint / a concern on Devin Haney weight ahead of his fight with Gamboa. Well, why is that when his fighter wasn't fighting Devin Haney? In fact, he turned down a fight with Devin Haney as a mandatory.
Because he wants to get it any other kind of way other than putting his fighter in there to get it. Yes, and it didn't work. It didn't work because we was on weight.
That's why Devin is the nightmare. Well, you got more receipt for us, Bill?
Well, the WBC is watching me. You know what I mean? They watch our show. So what they did was they ended up while they were watching it, they switched it to whereas see. So now you don't gotta touch it. It's already there for you. So it say what it is now. because they were hearing what I was going. You see, you can't touch it. So now he switched it. You see?
Yes, sir. But the face of the organization, the face of the division, when it comes to the WBC champion, is definitely Devin Haney, and there's no dispute when it comes to that. Um,
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's where as a young fighter, as a kid, that's where Devin's dreams were. Right, he always saw Floyd with that green belt, hanging on tight to that green belt. So we're just we're happy and proud to to do everything. You know what I'm saying? To go through and to endure everything, to endure all the pressure, all the the criticisms, the everything that it goes along with it. But the one thing that you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to fight Devin for it. Until he moves up to 140, you're gonna have to fight him. That's it. That's the only way to get it from him.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And my man had a super chat. He said, "Salute, Bill. When is Devin Haney coming back to split decision? So when we gonna have the champ back on the show, man?
Man,
It's been a
for
long
sure
time
it's
coming."
gonna be, yeah, well, for sure it's gonna be soon, man. In these
Yes, sir.
next
Yes,
couple of days, because we're up here training, right? We're up here in the Bay Area, so we're gonna definitely he's got time to do some media, right? Because we're locked in. So yeah, we look forward to it.
Uh, appreciate it, Bill. Now, I do want to ask you. This is a personal question because you done knocked out all the questions, all the boxing questions I have for you. So, this is more of your journey. I just want to first of all welcome you to the club, uh, the Muslim club. Ramadan Kareem to you. You
Sure. Ramadan
you
Mubarak, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Alayna alayk. Now, how you recently became a Muslim. Tell me how was your journey and what led you to that decision?
Um, I've always been strong in my belief in God, right? Um, but being a dedicated, being a Muslim and walking and walking in walking the right path is something that it just came over me, man. It just came over me that it was the right time and the right thing to do. Everyone was asking me, questions like, well, how did I do it, and how do I have a nice son or great son in Devon, and how did we get to where we are? And and I knew that the only answer was Allah, and the blessings of Allah has gotten us here, right? So it was about time that I step up and be a Muslim, be actually a slave to Islam, right? And that's what I am.
Yes, sir. Well, welcome to the club, man, and may Allah continue to bless you. There's a lot of the good things always happen to good people, and you definitely a great person, and that's why good things always happen to you. And you have a fighter like Devin, a son like Devin that has the potential to be pound for pound number one in the future. So uh, may Allah continue to bless you. It was a pleasure talking with you today. Like I said, you should be a chef the way you be cooking all these topics up. So I appreciate your time, Bill.
All right, God knows best, brother. I appreciate you too. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All
All
right.
right. Take care.
Take care.
So that was Bill Haney talking about everything, answering all the fans' question when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, Composis, Ryan Garcia, so on and so forth. Now, before I get my take on it and take few calls, because we've been on live for an hour and a half. Bill Haney was cooking for an hour and a half, so I appreciate Devin Haney, Bill Haney, and his family for always showing love to Split Decision and on AKHi TV. With that being said, I appreciate everybody that's tuning in, and make sure you guys stay tuned. May 29th on the zone. Devin Haney is fighting Linares, a veteran in the game. Linares beat the likes of Luke Campbell, dropped him. He also dropped Lomachenko. I think he's the only fighter that dropped Lomachenko. If I'm not mistaken, Gary Russell also dropped Lomachenko, but that wasn't ruled as a knockdown. However, the official knockdown, there's no dispute in that, was uh, Linares. So this is a good fight. Linares is a very good technical fighter with great hand speed, a good IQ. which is going to present some challenges for Devin Haney. For the first time, I'm seeing a lot of people picking Linares to be Devin Haney. So make sure you guys stay tuned. May 29th. As boxing fans, we should rally behind fighters that's willing to fight the best. That's willing to put their undefeated record in there with anybody in the ring. Devin is willing to fight anybody. However, there's other fighters that's always, making excuses. Even challengers like mandatories such as Ryan Garcia will say anything and everything but let's fight. Ryan Garcia will question the guy who's rated higher than him with the belt when he's Devin Haney mandatory. And that's and that's what's wrong with the sport of boxing today, is that a lot of fighters, I won't say all the fighters, I'll say a lot of fighters are not cut like the old school fighters in which they're willing to fight the best. There's some few fighters that's willing to fight the best. The likes of Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Terrence Crawford, even David Benavidez, Andrade. These guys are willing to fight the best. So as boxing fans, we should rally behind them because they willing to give the fans that the fights they want to see. So I'm gonna give me like 3 minutes. I will be right back. I'm gonna open the phone lines and take possibly 1 or 2 calls. I'm not gonna take too many because, like I said, I'm sure on time since Bill Haney was cooking for an hour and a half. So I'll be right back.
Hello?
Oh man, I had to mute. Shout out to Rocky Balboa. My man said he listening in with 200 employees at the warehouse. AKHi the Rocky on split decision. You best believe that. So check the resume. What's understood don't have to be explained. So I appreciate the love and support. Shout out to Rocky Balboa. My mic was muted while I was talking, giving you a shout out. So I appreciate the love and support and plugging me in a major way. Thank you. How you doing, AKHi? Who this is or where you calling from?
Yo, this Will. I'm calling out of Ohio.
Yes, sir. Will, what's going on? Talk to me.
Man, these guys like Ryan and these guys like T.O., they make boxing look bad, man. It's like I'm getting a job shoveling dog poop, and then I complain that I'm shoveling dog poop. I mean, well, I knew that's what the job entails when I signed up.
Right.
So it's like, why something to become a professional boxer if you're going to make excuses not to fight? They make themselves look weak. It's like they're throwing stones and hiding their hand, man. I don't get it.
Exactly. And that's what's wrong with boxing, because you see Jake Paul fighting Ben Askren, the UFC fighter, and people wonder, why is that making noise? But this is why YouTube boxing becoming a norm. I done heard there's YouTube versus TikTok. I done heard so many exhibition get announced, all these old fighters taking advantage of the young fighters not fighting each other. And just like you pointed out, fighters, their job is to fight. So Ryan Garcia, in his position, every single kid in the world, if you ask any kid that want to grow up to be a boxer, they will tell you, my dream is to become a champion. Right? And Ryan is in that position to fight for that belt and become a champion. However, he takes a step back because he don't want to fight Devin. And then he want to discredit Devin after he said Devin is my toughest opponent. Right? And Devin is a champion and he's ranked higher than Ryan. So it's making the sport look bad. The fact that Ryan and T.O. will troll the fans, and even Mike. Like, forget the fans. Imagine standing beside Mike, in front of Mike, and promising Mike, I'm fighting so-and-so. It's set in stone. And you go fight someone else and turn down the fight. How you think that makes you look in the public eye? And to the fans, because I'm a fan of Ryan. I'm a fan of T.O. And I really believed in both of them. You guys, that's no secret. You guys saw my video. I was very optimistic about them fighting Gervonta and Devin. I believed Ryan and T.O. when they said they were going to fight Gervonta and Devin. And then it's like they turned around and made a U-turn out of nowhere. And they just want to say, well, joke's on you. You believe me? I was just trolling. At least when Jake Paul is trolling Conor McGregor and whoever, he actually won a fight. Like Jake Paul, he be trolling whoever, and he actually won a fight, them guys. He sent Conor McGregor a $50 million offer, and the funds were there. However, on the other hand, you see Ryan and T.O., they will troll the fans and the fighters, and they won't do it. How you think that makes you look in the public eye?
Even as a man, it just makes you look weak to open your mouth and not be able to back it up. I mean, Haney is his own boss. He pays nobody but his dad. You guys got to pay everybody else. So it's not about the money with Haney. He wants to get in there, knock you out, and beat you up. Y'all want to play these games, and it's like y'all making boxing look weak. This is not that kind of sport.
Right. Ryan, Devin Haney, last 2 fights, he made $3 million. You know? So he could stay comfortable winning fights that he's the favorite to win, like the Linares, the Gamboa. He could fight these guys and make $3 million each fight, and all the money is going to his pocket. Devin is making more money than Ryan, right? But you see everybody wanting to fight Ryan because he's the weakest link. T.O. willing to fight Ryan. He don't care about no belt. He don't care about none of that. He don't care about no resumes just because he knows Ryan is the weakest link. He felt like he could beat Ryan, but he don't feel like he could beat Devin. But at the end of the day, win or lose, if you fight the best, even the greatest lost. I mean, Duran lost on more than one occasion. Sugar Ray Leonard lost on more than one occasion. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, lost on more than one occasion. So it ain't about, I mean, a loss does not define your career. You could lose and come back and bounce back. One of the main things, let me say this one last thing. One of the main signs of a champion is how you bounce back after a loss.
Right. I don't think Haney is concerned about losing.
Right. Exactly. Because he really believed he the best. However, it seemed like these other fighters don't believe they the best because they don't want to fight Devin. Like Bill said, if you feel like you could beat Devin, it shouldn't matter what order you want to fight Ryan, Tank, Devin. The order shouldn't matter. If you feel like you could beat all three, the order shouldn't matter. And that's why Devin doesn't care who he fight next.
Line them up. You're right, Archie.
Yeah, line them up. And that's exactly my point. Let me read the super chat real quick. My man said, imagine Muhammad is too scared to play in the SP. And yes, I mean, imagine LeBron not wanting to go to the finals and play against a final team. I mean, like, again, the whole purpose of a Super Bowl is for the two final teams to play against each other. It's not a brainer for a team that didn't even make it to the playoffs to play the final team. That's not how it works in the NBA, in the NFL, or any sport. It's always about the best versus the best. And in the sport of boxing, though, like I said, they use the political way to maneuver around the best fight. And we see it with you see Oscar Valdez doing the same thing to Shakur. You see T.O. Ryan doing the same thing to Devin Haney. You see Canelo doing the same thing to Charlo Andrade and even David Benavidez. So this is becoming a trend and is watering down the sport of boxing. So soon we're gonna end up with YouTube fights. If the best don't fight the best, we're gonna end up with YouTube fights. And fighters can't complain because they're not willing to fight each other. And when I say they, I mean like the likes of Ryan, Tio. Like Tio says something about YouTube fighting and how it's bad for the sport. How is it bad for the sport when you, as a fighter, as a champion, not willing to fight the best and become undisputed?
You don't want to fight your mandatory.
Yeah, you know, they rather petition not to fight instead. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Look, man, Devin once said, the new way of ducking is pricing yourself out. However, we know and there's no secret in the sport of boxing, like fighters get paid well. So now, since they know the money is not the issue, now the new way of ducking is petitioning through email. This is the new way of ducking. It's petitioning through email not to fight. Because Ryan is complaining about Devin Haney and how he won the belt. But Devin challenged Lomachenko, who was a pound-for-pound fighter, at 20 years old. He didn't say I wasn't ready as a mandatory. He didn't say I wasn't ready for Lomachenko. Nah, he knocked on Lomachenko's door, and he had Lomachenko. He changed Lomachenko's name to Nomachenko. On the other hand, Ryan is in the same position as Devin Haney. He's the interim champion. He's the mandatory for Devin Haney belt. Did he make Devin Haney surrender? Or did he petition not to fight? Making a mockery out of boxing. Like I said, Ryan Garcia, man, he might as well, like Bill said, become a champion on Instagram, because this man, he used Gervonta Tank Davis' name to avoid Devin Haney. Then to escape out of the mess he got himself into with Gervonta, he used Pacquiao name. And then after the Pacquiao fight was officially canceled, he goes on Instagram and says, a day later, he says, oh, the fight is not an exhibition. It's a real fight. When the topic of conversation is the fight is canceled. And he continues to clout chase Pacquiao for a whole month after the fight was canceled. This is why Oscar De La Hoya came out and said, oh, when he was asked about Pacquiao and Ryan Garcia, he said, oh, that's just for Instagram. In other words, that's just for clout. Because how you announcing a fight, that never was going to take place. That never was on the table. And then they started bringing up Teofimo Lopez to kind of ease the backlash they were receiving from the Pacquiao situation. So this is all a strategic plan. The witness protection plan.
It's
at the end of the day.
It's whack, Aki. He told Tank, if you don't take this fight, it'll ruin your career. Well, you didn't make the happen fight, but yet still you think your career is supposed to stay intact. I feel like this, man. I can respect these guys more if you just come out and say, hey, man, I'm scared to lose my title. I'm scared to lose my record. I think he'll knock me out. I can respect the truth versus lying and, you know, throwing stones and hiding your hand. It just makes them in boxing look watered down.
Yeah, and let's put things in perspective. Ryan, he first said the fight is set in stone. And then like first of all, he told Tank, listen, I'm the A side. He told Tank, look, they think they the only ones that's smart. I'm smart too. I promoted myself. That's how I became a popular guy on social media. So I'm the A side. See, Ryan was trying to use this A side talk to avoid Gervonta, because this is what Tio did. Tio, who got like 500,000 followers on Instagram, is claiming he bigger than Tank, right? And I won't fight Tank unless I'm the A side. So Ryan, he was trying to escape the Gervonta fight that way by claiming I'm the A side. So Tank was like, man, you know what? You can have the A side. I just want to knock you out. You can have it. I give you the A side. Then Ryan the next day, he said, I'm announcing a bigger fight in Tank. How you announcing a bigger fight when the fight is not made? When the negotiations haven't even started? When negotiations was never on the table according to your own promoter? And why would you pull out of the negotiations? Why would you pull out of the negotiations with Tank when the Pacquiao fight is not secure? You will negotiate with both fighters to have a leverage on both fighters. So we could see, I mean, the man deleted his Twitter, man. Now, he didn't delete his Twitter. That's what he claimed. But he actually deactivated his Twitter since he knew the stunt he was going to pull. And since he don't want to receive backlash, he deactivated his Twitter and blamed it on the fact that he mentioned God, and that's why his Twitter was deleted. I mean, I done mentioned God a million times. Wow. I never got my Twitter deleted. But he mentioned God and he got his Twitter deleted. Man, I didn't see an excuse me on this, but man, I didn't see people mention porn on Twitter and their Twitter don't get deleted. But Ryan mentioned God and his Twitter gets deleted. We know what time it is. He deactivated his Twitter and then he lies to the public. Well, at least this is this is not a fact. I'm just saying I don't believe the fact that his Twitter was deleted by Twitter. Why? Well, man, they don't care about Ryan.
This is one of my biggest things. Now, not only do I believe Haney is the best in the lightweight division, but Haney, Bill, and Devin, they don't go clout chasing. They don't throw people's names. They don't insult. They don't do nothing. They work, they handle their business, and they do it properly. And these Ryan fans, well, he's trolling Ryan, and everybody wants to fight Ryan, but Ryan is the one that opens his mouth. Tio is the one that has his name in his mouth. Boma is the one that has Haney's name in his mouth. You know, you call him all these type of names and defamation of character, but, you know, now when he's sitting in these contracts, you want to up the numbers and talk to him. But, I mean, Haney goes about his business like a real stand-up guy, and that's why I like that Haney family, because they don't troll. They don't do all that capping, all that bull crap for attention. They don't need the attention. You guys are thirsty for attention. You need the followers. You need the money. So you want to attack this man and his family and everything he didn't achieve. He worked hard just like you did. So what makes you think he don't deserve it? He doesn't petition out. He doesn't cry. He doesn't make excuses. He fights who's in front of him, whether it's a knockout or 12-round Gamboa. You know what I mean? So it's like you guys just find every excuse to throw shade and hate on Haney and his family, but you guys are not doing anything to stand out or do better or look better than him. You make it looks worse. And I feel like it's just a complete contradiction. And I just can't wait for Haney to knock all these guys out. I swear.
Well, Devin, like you pointed out, he fought his way to his position and they kept it respectful. Like Devin didn't get special treatment like Lomachenko did and got a world title shot in his second fight and lost the title and got another title shot in his third fight. That's not what happened with Devin Haney. Devin Haney fought 20 times to get to a mandatory position and then the champion ducked him the way Riddick Bowe avoided Lennox Lewis. Devin won the title the same way Lennox Lewis won his title. So he's just as much of a champion as any other champion out there. Now, the fake champion is the person that petitioned not to fight and give up the belt and surrender the belt. That's not how a champion should behave, right? So, I mean, again, Devin Haney is ranked higher than Ryan. He's more paid than Ryan. He got a belt. Ryan doesn't have a belt. So it's like, think about it. How come everyone is gunning for Ryan, but no one is gunning for Devin? At the end of the day, just like Devin said, Ryan is the weakest link. This is why people are aiming for him, because they feel like he's like almost a guaranteed win, or at least they have the best chance of beating him, you know, when it comes to all the Fabulous Four, you know. So at the end of the day, hopefully.
Now that Loma has been inserted back in this top 4, top 5, I will put Ryan at the bottom. I'm not going to take nothing from his attributes or his skill, but he can't beat Haney, he can't beat Tio, he can't beat Tank, and he can't beat Loma.
Right. Yeah, and Ryan, yeah, for sure. He definitely, like I said, he only fought Luke, and Luke, all he's known is for losing, according to him, because Luke, he never beat nobody. I mean, you can't name it. He
and
lost
Luke knocked him out.
Yeah. And so like
Luke put him on his butt cheek. So I mean, it's like, what do you got to say now?
Yeah, I think that was a reality check, man. Because remember, he was telling Tank, "Don't
and
back out."
Not to mention this.
Yeah.
Not to mention Tio got knocked out by amateur in the Benavidez. So I mean, you guys really need to elevate and focus on what you guys are doing and leave Haney alone.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Well said, my brother. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up other callers. I'm sure on time. I appreciate you spending knowledge on split decision, my brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Arthur.
Yes, sir. Before I pick up calls, I do really want to talk about this because this has really got me concerned. Because you know, I was watching Jake Paul versus Ben Askren workout, and I'm trying to see what kind of striking skills does Ben Askren. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, so I'm gonna call him Ben. I was watching Ben striking skills, you know, hitting the pads and stuff like that, and I really thought he was faking it. I was like, man, this man cannot be real. I could see him telegraphing his punches a mile away. I really thought maybe he's trying to fool Jake Paul, give him a false sense that he could win, or he's that sorry, or he got zero striking skills, and then fight night he will explode on him. And then I started seeing more footage, and I'm like, man, he really be throwing punches in slow motion with a horrible stand-up, and his everything is wrong. His balance is wrong. His stand is wrong. He throwing punches wrong. No speed, no power. So I'm like, oh my God, where they got Ben Askren from? I mean, I know he a UFC fighter, but I didn't know UFC fighters that don't have striking skills are really that bad when it comes to striking, right? But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The way Ben is throwing punches, this is a recipe for disaster. I mean, Jake Paul is about to look like Floyd Mayweather in there against Ben Askren. This is why YouTube boxing is becoming the norm, though, when it comes to exhibitions. Thanks to guys like Ryan and Tio trolling the fans on mic, like I told you guys. So Dana White recently came out and said that he will bet millions of dollars on Ben to beat Jake Paul. I bet $1 million that Dana White is not going to bet $1 million on Ben, because I know he knows better. I think he's just selling the fight since he's going to get a share of the fight. And Ben is pretty much, you know, I don't want to call him a laughing stock in the UFC, but he got knocked out real quick against Masvidal. So I think he's just trying to capitalize on the money. And this is the best way to capitalize on it, is to actually, you know, trying to sell the fight and act like he backing up Ben. But this is a bad look on the UFC, because it's like, man, is this the striking skills you guys possess in the UFC? I mean, I thought the UFC had better striking, because when you see a guy like Conor could actually strike. Dustin can actually strike. Even my man, even Khabib, who's a pure wrestler, he could strike. He dropped Conor McGregor with striking with the right hand, right? But I mean, some UFC fighters that just rely on wrestling don't have no stand-up game at all. So boxing is just not for them. But I think Ben is making a killing, and I could see Floyd Mayweather, because they haven't announced the Logan Paul fight, so I could really see Floyd Mayweather going after Jake Paul, because now he catching a buzz. Jake Paul is about to become 3-0. On the other hand, Logan Paul is 0-2. So I see Floyd Mayweather dissing Jake and Paul. So I could see him capitalizing on the moment, since this is about to go viral. He about to make a killing off Ben Askren. This is a recipe for disaster, and this is about to be brutal. So the only thing that I don't enjoy is DAZN having Andre fight on the same day as Jake Paul versus Ben, because it's kind of like taking attention away from Andre, since that's the topic of conversation. People are just talking about this YouTube fight, and that's why in the sport of boxing, the best got to fight the best. But they should have pushed the Andre fight a fight before that, or a fight after that, because I don't think they should have put it on the same date as Jake Paul versus Ben, because I'm not going to lie, it's catching a major buzz, more than I anticipated. I didn't know this fight was this big, but we'll see what kind of numbers it will do. With that being said, let me go ahead and pick up the phone lines. How you doing, AKHi? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, AKHi? It's Kieran from Albany, New York.
Yes, sir. What's going on, my man? So what's up with your boy? What's his name? Ryan Garcia, man. I mean, he pulling a stunt again. He claiming the truth is, I don't respect Devin, this and that and the third. But this isn't what he was saying when he said Devin Haney is my toughest fight. That's why I'm saving him for last. This isn't what he said when Devin walked up on him during the post-fight press conference, and he said, I'm turned up. Let's go. Let's fight. Let's fight right now. that crazy mess he was doing, talking about he turned up. Turned up for what? You need to turn down, because you ain't gonna do nothing. You're just gonna petition through email not to fight Devin. So what you turned up for?
Yep. Do you want me to respond to that? Or?
Yeah. You need to cook Ryan. That's what you need to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, Ryan Garcia is not my boy. I don't stand behind pussy Mexicans. I mean, like, the real Mexicans that I like to stand behind are people like Jose Ramirez. But if I saw this out of like Edgar Berlanga or any Puerto Rican star that I follow, I would literally just flame the living crap out of them. And I think this is almost similar with Edgar Berlanga in a sense, because I don't know if you heard between Edgar and Kevin Newman, right? Kevin basically got called out by Berlanga because I guess Berlanga, he sparred him. And then, Kevin got the better of him, and Berlanga, he was making up all these crazy, accusations and statements to say, Kevin, oh, he's not on my level, blah, blah, blah. And then Kevin got disrespected by him. And then Kevin was like, okay, well, if you think you're better than me, then come fight me. And Berlanga didn't want to make any more mentions of him. And ever since then, other YouTube channels got together to interview Kevin, to ask him okay, what happened between you and Edgar? And then Kevin made his peace, but Berlanga, he never wanted to come out and actually, be honest about what the situation. And I just think that's similar with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Ryan knows that Devin could literally knock him out. So the best way to make it seem like that Ryan's not interested in fighting Devin is that he'll make up all these accusations about Devin, and he'll try to say how all these other fighters could beat Devin, but he doesn't acknowledge that Devin is a very dangerous opponent, and he'll make up all the bullshit from left to right to justify his position of not fighting Devin. And I think from what you've seen from his last fight against Luke Campbell shows that Ryan Garcia, he's a bitch, and he doesn't want to be man enough to hold his word against Devin Haney, and it shows that Devin Haney is the true titan at 135.
Yes, sir. What do you think should happen to Ryan for if he doesn't fight Devin next after he done fought two eliminators? What do you think his punishment should be?
Oh, like as far as like a legal punishment for boxing, right?
I mean, just like the rankings should be, he need to be kicked off the rankings completely, right? I mean, why is he gonna be a
Yes.
mandatory? Like, it seemed like he's just waiting Devin out to move up to 140. That's almost what it seemed like to me. He just want to become a champion, but he just don't want to fight Devin Haney for that belt. But he's willing to fight anybody for that belt. But when it's Devin the champion, he want to say the title don't mean nothing. But I bet you if it's Composis or Fortuna, if they were the champions, he would have fought Devin. I mean, excuse me, he would have fought them for that belt. But when Devin is the champion, the titles don't mean nothing, you know. So do you think he should be kicked off the rankings completely in every single organization?
Yeah, he should be kicked off of like every single sanctioning body if he's going to continue doing that, because you have to think about all the other guys that really want to be on there that are not going to get their shine, and for Ryan to hold that up and be an absolute drama queen, you know, for that manner, then no, fuck him, dude. You know, like this is boxing. This ain't, you know, about the NBA. This ain't hockey where you could just, you know, come back next time. No, this is like a one-shot deal, and you know, you have to prove, like, you know, prove your worth to be on those ranking systems. And I just think that Ryan Garcia, he thinks that this is a game, and he's trying to use all the tactics possible to save his ass when he does, you know, something stupid. And Ryan Garcia, he's already at a point where nobody's not believing in him, and I don't like him, and I really hope that something like that does happen to him, because he's by far the biggest bitch ever.
That's a big statement, my brother. Well, I guess, you know, I got one more caller, man. You know, went out with a bang. I appreciate you for calling in. I don't have much time. I want to finish the last caller. Anything else you want to say before I pick up the next call?
Yes. Fuck Ryan Garcia. Long live Devin Haney. And to hell with duckers and boxing.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, my brother, for always calling in and spinning the reel.
Yeah, thank you, AKHi.
Yes, sir. Again, you know, when you troll the fans will lose respect for you real quick. How you doing, brother? Who this is and where you calling from? Hello?
Hey, what's going on, AKHi? It's your boy Demetrius, man.
Demetrius, what's going on? So what's your take on the Ryan Garcia move he's pulling, petitioning not to fight, and then telling Devin Haney you're not worthy?
Oh man, the last fight I kind of took the words out of my mouth. I don't know if I was gonna go that far, but I was laughing a few minutes ago. Like,
right.
Yeah, I think they were just using his name for clout, like you were mentioning earlier. Like they gotta sell tickets somehow. But it's always at the fault of somebody else. Like, I mean, if you're gonna use his name, at least, like you said, all right, maybe you're not ready to fight him now, but at least promise to fight him next. Like, you know, you can't just keep using somebody's name and just like, oh, at the last minute, go switch up and be like, oh, well, this is an even bigger fight. Like, no, damn well, nobody in the fans, in the comment section, or nobody at home was like, what? Like, how are you doing? Like, unless you're like a real boxing fan, a lot of people probably don't even know who that is, like casual fans. Like, yeah, I just think it's a lot of. I don't know if it's Ryan himself or his promoters. Like, I guess there's no way we'll really know. But I think deep down he kind of realizes. Like at first he was a little more confident, but they kind of talked him out of it. In my opinion, I think now he's starting to realize, like, all right, I might get myself hurt.
Yeah, well, I think it's Ryan because Oscar said, look, I promote how I used to fight. I fought the best. I promote my fighters to fight the best, but he can't force these fighters to fight the best. I mean, you see Canelo, he didn't escape his contract and left Golden Boy in the zone just because they were telling him you need to fight better opposition than Avni Yildirim, who's coming off a loss. So, you know, and I think Ryan at this point in time, what would you say he obviously running his mouth, but would you say he's running his feet or his mouth more? Is he running his mouth or feet away from Devin more? Which one is
kind of both. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like Forrest Gump. You know, the Forrest Gump was when he was just running and talking the whole time. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, I mean, okay, I understand if you duck one person two-person, but damn, man, you're gonna duck everybody. Like Ryan, he's just gonna duck Pacquiao,
Right.
Tank, and also Devin Haney. I mean, don't forget, Ryan told Tank, he said Tank reminds him of a bully. This is what he said. He said, I used to get bullied in school, and Tank remind me of a bully. Like the bully he used to, you know what I'm saying, that used to bully him.
Yeah.
You know, when someone says that, he indirectly already implying that I'm afraid of this man. Man, Tank, he, you know,
right.
like again,
he seen him getting flashback.
Yeah, he getting flashback. His legs are shaking because he was telling Tank, you too short. I'm gonna knock you out. However, Mike Tyson was sitting right next to him, and Mike Tyson was shorter than all the other heavyweights, right? So, I mean, it's like, again, Ryan is the type of person who tells his homeboys, like Canelo, Oscar, hold me back. And then he will scream at Tank, let's go, Tank, let's go. And then he tell, you know, Canelo and his team, yo, hold me back, Tank, let's go. Like, man, come on, we can see right through that. Why you like even Oscar let go? He was like, go ahead. Like Ryan annoyed Oscar so much, he told him go ahead. Because he said, you know, that's just for Instagram. That's just for clout. He like, man, go ahead. If you really about it, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So we know Ryan is not about it because he didn't fight Tank. He said it was set in stone and he ain't fighting Tank. And, you know, he said on the post, he said, I'm going to fight T.O., Tank, this guy and that guy, this and that and the third. But you ain't fighting none of them guys. You ain't fighting Tank. What you talking about? How you going to use someone's name you just ducked? This is what's mind-blowing to me. But any last thoughts on that before I let you go, my brother, because my camera just died.
Last thoughts it's probably due to, I don't want to blame it on social media, but I think the fact that he thinks he can get away with it is because of that. Like he's a big star online. You know, he has the mass appeal, or I don't know what the word is.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what's the word.
Quality.
No. It ain't none of that. Because when Floyd was a superstar, they always put pressure on him to fight everybody. When all these fighters on the coincidental list, they always pressured him to fight the best. But the word is that Ryan Garcia got the complexion for the connection to get the ultimate protection. That's what it is. So he think he got old media in his pocket, and they're gonna cover up for him. But that's why new media here is to put the whole truth together like puzzle and tell it like it is.
Floyd, they didn't give Floyd his due prize. They still don't really want to give him his prize, but we all know what that is. Like, you know, we all know what that is about. Yes, old media might get tired of Ryan soon, though. I don't know. Like, that's protecting for another year, couple years. But who knows? If he keeps this up, I don't know, man. He might run himself to a corner. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They ain't got tired of Canelo yet, so I don't see them ever getting tired of Ryan. So,
well, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. So. Canelo fought like 60 fights, 8 fights.
Yes, sir. But hey, I appreciate talking
like
with
2
you.
good people with him.
Yes, sir. Hey, my brother, listen, man. You need to call. Man. You need to call more often, man. Had a pleasure talking with you. I'll catch you next time. All right.
Definitely. You too, bro. Keep up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and to be continue on the next episode of AKHi TV. Peace, and we out here.